Hello beautiful people, welcome back to today's tutorial. I'll say I'm so excited, and I really appreciate you people's love towards me. My returning subscribers, I say a very big thank you to you people. You people are awesome. For those who are stopping by for the first time, please, I'm pleading, subscribe to my channel to support me. It means a great deal to me. Okay, today we are back to do our usual work. So today in our tutorial we are going to learn how to make this beautiful trendy yoke gown. It's actually a tube gown. You cut it in form of tube, but it has yoke and is so lovely. As you can see it now, it's very lovely. So I'm going to teach you how to cut it and sew it. Let's go to the cutting table. Okay, this is the pattern we are going to use for this tutorial, and these are the fabrics that we are going to use. I'm going to combine the two of them. So first, the tutorial of how I achieved this pattern is on my YouTube channel. I will also link it to this tutorial. So when you search the description box, you will see the link to how I achieved this pattern. So the first thing we are going to do now is to get from this pattern. This is my bust point line, this is my under bust line, and this is my waistline. So I'm going to get the distance from this my under bust point line to this my under bust line. So what I have here, 4 inches. So I'm going to measure the 4 inches up here. So on this point now, I'm going to take in that my dart here now. So I'm taking 1 inch on both sides. You can make it ½ inch depending on how you want it to. If you are wearing it with jackets, you can even use ½ inch. But if you want it to be tight on you, you have to take 1 inch or 3/4 inch. So this is my 1 inch now. I'm going to connect it there, but I'm going to connect it to 1 inch above this my bust point line. So I'm trying to connect our dart now. So this is what I have now. This is the dart. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I have to determine my neck depth. So the neck depth I'm working with is, I'm using let me use 7 inches. 7 inches will be fine for me. So this is my 7 inches here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm not giving it any sweetheart neckline, and it's going to be stretched this way. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just connect this point, this my neck depth to this point, and also I'm connect this my dart to my armhole. I have to blend it to enter my armhole. I'm using the curved side. I want it to be a little bit curved. So this is what I have now. I hope you are seeing what I'm doing. So this is what I have now. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to cut out this pattern. So this dart now is, we are going to cut it off here, also here. But before we cut it off, we have to blend it together. So this is what we have now. now I'm going to cut. Okay, this is my pattern here now. The yoke, I'm going to cut it out, but before I cut it out, I'm going to take half an inch from it as my seam allowance on this side, or you can as well leave it this way. When you want to cut on your fabrics, you add the sewing allowance. So it's like that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to cut first. I'll cut out my yoke this way, because I'm still going to make use of the yoke. This is what I have now. So I'm going to cut out my bust darts. So when I cut it out, I have to close it up. You have to close it up. So this is my center front and this is my side front now, and this is my yoke. So now for the back pattern still remains the same. So this is my back pattern. This is my armhole line or chest line. This is my bust point line there, and this is my waistline. So what I'll do for this is my zipper allowance. What I'm going to do now is to just take the neck depth I want for my back pattern. So for my back pattern, I can take, so I'm taking 8 inches for my back also. So I'm going to connect the point 8 inches. I'm going to connect it, make it a straight line. So I'm cutting out the yoke for the back also. So this is what I have now for my back, and this is the back yoke. So I'm going to use this now to cut out my fabrics. The back that I'm sewing it, I'm not cutting it through. I'll just sew it to this point. So I've cut out my fabrics with my pattern. This is my center front. This is the pattern. Now I've cut it on fold. This is my side front. I have 2 of it here, and this is my back piece. For this my back piece, I have 2 pieces for it, and I've also got my interface on it and my paper stay on it because the fabric is so light. So I've also cut out my lining. I'm using the same fabrics for the lining. I cut out 2 for the back. This is the lining for the center front, and this here and the lining for the side front. So, and I also got interface on my lining. Okay, now to the down part of the gown, which is the flared. It's going to be a flared gown. So I have here my fabric folded into 2. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I want to cut the front first. So I'm going to fold it in a bias form like this. I pick this place and bring it to meet to stop at where this one ends. That's where it will stop. I'm trying to arrange the fabrics very well. So in a bias form, it will stop at where the down part ends. So that's this. That's what I have here. That's it. My front now is into 4 folding, and my back is going to be into 4 folding, making it 8 folding. That means the waist measurement I'm working with, I'm going to divide it by 8. So waist of 40 inches divided by 8 will give me 5 inches. So I'm going to look for where I will get 5 inches from this my folding now. I'm going to look at where I will get 5 inches. So I've gotten my 5 inches point now. So I'm going to connect it with a straight line. So this is it now. So from this point now, I'm going to measure my skirt length. My skirt length is 30.5 inches. So from here, this inclusive my sewing allowance. So I'm going to take my 30.5 inches round. So I've gotten my 30.5 inches. I want to push it forward so that you will see it. That's from this point till this point. So now I'm going to cut out this. But at this my radius point here now, I'm not going to cut from this my line. I will go up with 1/2 inch and cut from the 1/2 inch, because that 1/2 inch is going to serve as my joining allowance. So I've cut it out now. This is what I have for my front pattern. So I'm going to use this now to cut my back pattern out. Yeah, so I'm done cutting it out, both front and back. And you can see this extra. This is my front pattern. My front fabric this is it. And you can see excess here for the back, which is my zipper allowance for the back. So I have here now, I have 1, 2. This is for the front, and I have 1, 2 for the back. So this now is just our flay. This is another way of cutting flay. You can cut it by dividing with 6.28, but I don't want to cut full flay. And I don't want to cut, I don't want it to be light. I want it to be fuller. That is why I did it with this pattern, so that my flay will be fuller than normal full flay. So I'm going to line it also. So I will use this to cut out the lining for both the front and the back fabrics. Okay, for my yoke, this is what I have for my yoke. The length is 10.5 inches. This inclusive the allowance to join the shoulder, and also the allowance I will use to join to the tube. Then the width I have here is 27 inches. This includes the allowance I will use to turn the neckline here, and also my round sleeve folding in allowance here. So you can, this depends on where you want the sleeve to get to. This now includes my shoulder of 8.5 inches. Then I now added about 19 inches to it because I'm going to pleat it down here. I'm going to pleat it down here. So what you depends on how full you want the pleating to be and where you want it to get to. The sleeve for my own is going to get to somewhere here. So that's why you can use 19 inches, you can use 20, you can use 22, 24, depending on where you want it to be. So I have here cut out 4 pieces, 2 for the front and 2 for the back. I also have this my lace cut out 4 pieces because I'm going to top stitch this lace on top of these fabrics. So now I'm going to cut the neckline. So I'm going to place this on top of my lace because I want to cut everything at the same time. I'm cutting everything at once. So first I have to choose the neck width I'm using here. So the neck width I'm using here is 3.5 inches. So this is my 3.5 inches here. So at this point I'm going to come down by 1.5 inch for my shoulder slope. 1.5 inch. So I will connect this my shoulder slope to this my neck width with a long ruler. I'm going to connect it now. So I've connected it. So this I will choose where I want my neckline to get to. My neckline, I want it to stop at 9 inches here. This is the 9 inches. So I will connect from my neck width to that 9 inches. So that's my neckline now. So at this point I have to take my round sleeve measurement. The round sleeve I'm working with is 12 inches, that is 6 inches. So I'm taking the round sleeve measurement here now. So from this point now, I have to give it a little slant because I don't want here to be like this. I want this side to be smaller than the center front. So maybe from this center front here now, I can take like 10 inches. So from that 10 inches, I will slant it. I will slant my sleeve to meet that point. So this is it. So I'm going to cut it out now. So in this my shoulder slope, I'm leaving 1/2 inch for my joining allowance. I'm not cutting directly from the line that I ruled at initially. So I'm leaving like 1/2 inch. Sorry about that. So this is what I have now for my shoulder slope. Please, if you are doing it, that's why it's good to pin your work down. So from here, from this my round sleeve down, I'm also going to leave like 1/2 inch for my joining allowance. You see it? You see the shape now? You see the shape now? So here I'm going to now cut out my neckline. So this is what I have now. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to top stitch this my lace on this my fabric. I'll just arrange it very well, making sure that they are equal to each other. Then I will top stitch using my allowance. I'll just run a top stitch on all the 4 corners of this. That's what I'm going to do now. I'll do it in the 4 of them. I'll just run a top stitch on it, this way, this way, this way, and this way. Okay, now we are going to start our sewing. I'm done gumming my wording to my fabrics. I use the soft wording, so I'm going to turn it to the right side this way. This place I notch is my under bust, so I'll place it this way. I also notch it on my center front, so I place it, make sure that the points meet together. Then I will sew it with my seam allowance. I will sew with my seam. As I'm sewing, I'll be arranging it. For the back pattern, what I'm going to do is that first I'm going to sew my darts on both the lining and the fabric. So I'm done sewing my cup together. You can see how it is. See how it's standing. This is the inside and this is the outside. So the next thing we are going to do now is to sew our yoke on it. Both the back pattern, the back fabrics and the front fabrics, we are sewing the yoke on both. This is my yoke. I'm done gumming my top stitching the net to the fabrics. I've done top stitching. So this particular fabrics, I'm going to use it as my facing. So I'll just put it on it this way. I will sew with my 1/2 inch seam allowance. Then I will notch it and top stitch on it. How do you now determine the volume of pleat needed here? So what you need to do is our fabrics for the front, where we are putting it, or the back, wherever you are putting it, you can see I've notched the center front. So you have to measure from this center front. You measure from this till the armhole, till your seam allowance by the side. So whatever you get is the volume that you are going to pleat, and you will leave like 4 inches or 5 inches on pleat. That is how to get it. So when you are done pleating, the next thing that you are going to do now is you will bring the pleated fabrics. This is what I have. I'm having 2 for the front and 2 for the back. So that 2 will be this way for the front, because it's going to be a V neck at the front. So it is going to be this way at the front. If you want to give it space, you put like 1/2 inch this way for it. So half will be this side and half will be this side. So now I'm going to put this right side of this my yoke facing the right side of my fabric. So I'll put out at this center front, I'll put it here this way. I will pin it down. You have to pin. Then I will arrange it. As I arrange, I will pin. So as I arrange, I will pin. So this is what I have now. You see it? If I sew it, this is what I can see. I still have excess on this side. This is going, see it? This is my seam allowance. I still have excess that I will close as sleeve when I'm done. see it. So now that I've put that one, see, I left like 1/4 of an inch here. So I will bring this one also. I will leave like 1/4 of an inch here. That means at the end of the day, I'm going to have like 1/2 inch space at this center front here. So I'm going to put this here and also pin it, arrange as I arrange, I'll pin. When I get to my side seam allowance, I will stop. Then I will have some fabrics left over. Then I will sew it round. I'm done sewing to my front fabrics. This is what I have now. So I've also sewed to my back fabrics. This is my back. You can see I mark, you can see it, I chalked my zipper allowance. So it started from where my zipper will be. I also did same to this side also for the back. From the point where my zipper will start from, that's where I fixed it from. So the next thing I'm going to do now is, for the back, the next thing I'm going to do for this back fabric is to fix my zipper. I have to fix my zipper first before I will turn it with my lining. So, but for the front now, I'm going to turn this my yoke this way, facing right side facing each other. It will still be this way. So I bring my lining. This is what I'm using for my lining. That is where I put my wording on my lining. So I'll put it my lining. I will get the center front of this one. I'll match it together. Then I will sew it. You can see the yoke is in between my front. The yoke is in between my front fabrics and my lining. So I'm going to use it now to turn the neckline. I will use this one to turn the neckline. Then I will notch it and top stitch. So I'm done stitching the lining to my fabric. So I'm going to turn it. And if I turn it this way, this is what I will have now. This is the front where there is the lace, and this is the back. You can see the seam allowance is hidden now. You cannot see it outside. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn it to this my right side. Now I will pick my line and my fabrics. This is my fabric. So I'm going to put my fabrics only on my front fabrics. I will pick it, I will sew it, the flare fabrics, I will sew it around. Then I will also pick my lining, turn it to this. So this is the front of my lining. So I will pick my lining and put it this way. I will arrange it and sew. So I'm sewing the lining on the lining inside, and my fabrics, I will sew my fabrics to it. I'm not sewing everything together. I will also do same to my back fabrics. So I'm done sewing it now. This is my fabrics and this is my lining. They are separate. So this is for my back fabrics, and I'm going to sew my zip. But before I sew my zip, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to indicate where my zip will get to. So when I get it, I will bring my two back fabrics, the front side of it. This is the front and this is the front. You can see the lace on the two. So I'm going to get and match it on the zipper allowance. So I will now sew it where what I'm going to do is that when I get where the zipper will stop, then I will close it down. I put it this way. See the way I put it now. Right side facing each other. Then I will close the down side. Then I now fix my zipper only on my fabrics. I'm not doing anything on the lining side. So I'm done joining you can see it, I'm done sewing it. When you look at it very well, you see my lining is still on its own. I've not done anything to it. So I'm working only on my front fabrics now. So the next thing I'm going to do is to fix my zip. So I'm going to teach you how to fix it so that your seam allowance will not show outside. This is the zipper I'm going to use now. So what I'm going to do now is, this is my zipper now. I'm going to open it up a little. This is my, you see, when I sew the neckline, I didn't sew my zip allowance area. I left it, I stopped there. See it is. So I'm going to put my zip here this way and sew it to this point where my closing started. I'll sew it. I'll do the same thing on this side now. Okay, now I'm done sewing my zipper to my dress. So this is it. Now I'm going to turn with my lining. This is my front side and this is my lining. The yoke still at in between the lining and the front side. So I will just carry my lining this way and turn it this way. When I turn it, I'll push my yoke so that I will not sew on top of the yoke. So I will continue from this my neckline that I turned that time. Then when I get to my zipper, see, this is my zipper allowance. You push it out this way, then you will sew. When you get to where your zipper is, the teeth of your zipper, you will sew down. Use your hand to be feeling it so that you will not sew on the teeth of your zipper. Sewing on the, you will sew it down to where your zipper stops. You will also do same on this side. Okay, I'm done sewing the lining on my fabric. You can see the back of my zip. This is the back of my zip and this is the front of my zip. You see it? This is my back. So now what I'm going to do now, you know that my fabric, I've already closed it. I've already closed my fabrics to the hem. So I'm going to do same to my lining now. I will turn it this way to the back. This is where my, see the leftover of my zip. So I will go on my lining and close it till the hem of the lining. So when I'm done doing that, the next thing I will do is that I will get my both my front and my back fabrics and turn the hemline. For example, this is my front fabrics now. I will turn it this way. This is my yoke. So my flare will come towards my yoke this way. That means my yoke will be in between my lining and my flare. You see it? Then I will hold the hemline. I will hold the hemline together. The fabrics facing, this is the wrong side of my fabrics now, and this is the right side, facing the right side of my lining. I will hold it together and sew it round to the end. So I will also do the same thing to the back. So I'm done hemming the down. So I'll just, if you want to sew the side also to cover the stitches, what you do is just bring your half length together, so that you have a fold here like this. You bring your half length together and sew it down, but that's optional. But now when you are sewing, you leave some space where you will turn your fabrics from to the right side. You remain like 3 inches or 4 inches where you will turn it from. You can close one side to the end, but the other side you leave some space where you can turn it from. That's exactly what I'm going to do to this now. So the back also, this is my back. I have also sewn the hemline, as you can see. So what I will do now is that I will put all this yoke inside this way. Then I will make sure that my two half lengths are together here. I will stretch my flare. You can see that my fabric is longer than my lining. Then I will stitch it to my armhole. I will do same to the other side. Then I will leave some space where I will turn it from. Okay, I'm done sewing the sides, the two sides. This is for the back one, and this is the place I left open that I will turn it from. Just what I'll do, I'll just put my hand inside and bring out everything from this place. If you are seeing what I'm doing, just turn it from here. When I'm done turning it, I'll iron it before I will join the shoulder. So this is it now. You see, this is my hemline now, and this is the side. So what I'll do now is I'll just arrange it very well. The place I turned it from, after ironing, I will top stitch on it. So this is what I have for my back now. I hope you are seeing it. This is the front and this is the back. You will not see any trace of the seam line. So here that I turned it from, now after ironing, I will just top stitch, put it this way and top stitch on it. So I'm going to do the same thing to the front pattern now, the front fabrics now. So I'm done ironing it now. So now is the time to join the shoulders and shape it. So what I'm going to do now is, this is my front fabrics. I'll bring my back fabrics. So I will put it right side facing each other. This is my right side where I have the lace fabric. So I will bring the shoulder. I'll make sure that it aligns together here. Then I will turn it this way and sew till the end. I will also bring this one, make sure that it aligns, turn it with the line, this facing this way, and sew it this way till the end. So I'm done joining the shoulder. This is our shoulder and I'm done joining it. So I'm going to turn it right side facing each other this way. Then I will now join the side with our 1 inch seam allowance. I will sew from my armhole here. So this is my arm opening. I will sew from here this way till the down here. I will do so to this side. So this is the back. See, this is the zipper, and this is the front. I hope you are seeing it. You cannot see, apart from this side seam, you cannot see any other seam allowance outside it. Okay guys, I'm done sewing, and this is the front of the fabric of my gown. I hope you are seeing the back. This is how it came out. See it. There is no difference from what we have there. So I'm loving this my style. So beautiful. You can try it. This is the outcome. Very beautiful. You can give it a try out, but don't forget to subscribe. So if this video has been helpful, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And subscribe to my channel. It means a great deal to me. You can look at the tube. See how the tube relaxed. How it relaxed on my breast. Remember, I did not put my wording on the front fabrics. My wording is on the lining, and this is how it came out. You can give it a try out. See the tube where relaxed. This one, without this yoke, I can wear it without anything, and this will relax. And my returning subscriber, once again I say thank you very much. Then those that are stopping by for the first time, please subscribe to support your sister. It means a lot to me. We will see in the next tutorial. Bye and God bless you.